The baby cricket cranes finished 13th out of 16 nations at the 2022 Under-19 World Cup in the West Indies. A big experience for all of them as a group. The first time that Uganda, the third appearance for Uganda at the World Cup after 15 years, and the best ever finish for Uganda as well. This victory, this achievement, for some people think it's a small one because we picked up only 2 wins, but in the context of many things, it's a very big improvement by Uganda, and especially the baby cricket cranes, and with a new generation of players. We are privileged to speak to the coach of the team, Thawithemwira, who was with the boys from their qualifiers in Rwanda up to the World Cup in the West Indies. Ivan will be sharing with us what they went through as a group and how they overcame a few challenges that they were able to face, and also tell us the whole story of how this experience will be able to live with the boys for the rest of their careers and also improve their game as individuals. Welcome, Ivan.
Thank you very much.
I remember we spoke to you before going to the West Indies, and you were very confident that we could be one of the teams that could be able to win the tournament. In hindsight, do you think you were wrong after the experience?
Not at all. Actually, I think in hindsight, I was proved right to some extent because the results that we saw don't necessarily show the greater picture, the overall picture. If you look at our games against Ireland and the game against South Africa, those are games we could easily have won. We put down chances, especially against South Africa. We put down the Brevis. I think we dropped Brevis 4 or 5 times. And had we taken him, that means you take out the 100 from the 230 they scored. That would be a score of 130. And not only that, the partnerships he made with other guys.
Yeah.
So the score would have been much smaller than even 120, which would have been well within our reach.
We're a good fielding side. What happened in terms? Why did we drop those catches? Was it stage fright or?
That is what it comes down to, I think. As simple as that. Stage fright. Yeah, the World Cup is a very big animal. It can eat you alive. It is. Let me put that in context. We all know what a World Cup is, roughly. So to get to the World Cup and be part of the best 16, you've really gone through some of the most rigorous sieving process possible. So to be among the top 16, it is something that is phenomenal in itself. So for Uganda to be among the top 16, it is something else. But now to get to the World Cup proper, there are so many things that you have to confront. Stage fright, first of all. The stadia are so big and massive. Forget about Nambole. Nambole is it is small in comparison. Cricket, first of all, occupies.
Nambole could have been as big as the ground where we played our plate games. The game against PNG, fought something. I forget the name.
Even that is still big.
Yeah.
That was big. First of all, the area of a cricket ground alone is about 2.5 acres. The football ground is 1 acre. So that already is big. Now add the sizes. There are tires in the stadium. There's 3, 4 levels. Those things are massive. They can eat you alive. And there's cameras. There's so many things that are involved. And then behind the scenes, there's police, there's sirens, there's media work that is, it can really throw you off balance if you're not composed in a way. So all those, the boys have to deal with. And remember, they're under 19. And coming from a setup like ours, where these things are not common, they are not day-to-day things, so you would expect that to consume somebody, emotionally and otherwise.
If we were to make the next World Cup in 2024, how do we prepare for that? So that, of course, the team was so much better towards the end than they were earlier on. How do we prepare for more? How do we properly prepare for a World Cup?
I think we need to start now. First of all, the process has to start now. We need to expose these boys to, these high standards. We have neighbors like Zimbabwe, we have neighbors like South Africa, whom we can exploit because they have these facilities, they have these resources at their disposal. So, a trip to Zimbabwe, it's not too far, probably 3 hours or so. We'll be there and we get to see these things. When the mind starts seeing something over and over, then you become used to that, to whatever you're seeing.
They showed that They're really a distance away from us. But Scotland, were able to try and compete. What was the mindset going into those? Was it the quarantine? Was there still some jet lag? Or, I mean, what exactly, if you can help us put it in context?
Of course, there was so many of those, and at this point, I would also like to eliminate the excuse of I would like to call it an excuse now, but although it played a primary role, the lockdown and because everybody that was at the World Cup went through the same process as we did, so at this point it becomes level ground. They all to deal with what we dealt with. So again, I think that one of the biggest challenges and the biggest regrets I might have is we didn't have any practice games leading up to this. We didn't go, and have pre-tour tours.
Yeah.
So we were just left to the qualifiers, and then we just went into the tournament. I'm sure had we gone somewhere, there was a planned trip to India that was that got aborted. It would have made a massive difference had we made that trip, because then you play in a different environment, and also you have time to build up. If we had lost many of those games in India, it gets out that, it gets out whatever it takes out.
Yeah.
And then by the time you reach the tournament, you are beginning to hit your peak.
Yeah.
And as you saw, we were peaking towards the end of the tournament. So if that peak had arrived on our first game, or even if we had lost the warm-ups, but our first game we are already beginning to ascend, then the sky would have been the limit.
And in the context of the playing group, how much were you impressed by the boys in terms of being able to adapt to the stage? I mean, Pasco was exceptional as a leader. He showed that you're a player first, then a captain next. He was able to execute his skills. Miyagi, Kakuro in one of the games, Joseph Maguma. How were you impressed by the boys in terms of taking this and running with it?
Let me take this opportunity to say this is the most wonderful group of players I have. Well, it's my first time. I can't say. I think it was the best group of players to have at the start for the whole campaign. First of all, they were willing to work. They were willing to work hard. They were willing to go the hard yard, even without the World Cup, just the qualifiers. They bought into the philosophy easily. They were willing to learn. That is the key thing. And once we sorted the discipline issues out, which we hardly had any, we got rolling. And then there it was easy to work with them. They are going to be a vital cog in the wheel of UCA's ambitions. I can say that readily now. And for all those boys, if they get a chance to listen to this, let me say this: you are wonderful boys. You have what it takes to make it at this level. And for the odds that we had to overcome to get there, they know what we had to overcome to get to where we did. But they did it gracefully. They fought gallantly. So, a message to those boys: they are wonderful boys. And if they take care of themselves, of course now we may go different ways. I don't know what the future holds, but let them take care of themselves. Maintain themselves in the right mental space. They will go very far.
And thank you very much, Ivan. And we hope that, like you've mentioned, we are able to make sure that we make going to the World Cup something regular, not a one-off. Then another whole generation. I remember some of the boys, when I was seeing some of their dates of birth, when they were being born, were actually at the first World Cup in 2004. So we don't have to wait for another generation to go to the World Cup, but we need to make it something that is regular, and ultimately it will improve all our cricket, especially in the national teams. The work gets easier for Lawrence Mahatani at the top because the guys who are coming through have had the necessary exposure. So thank you very much, Ivan, and we appreciate you speaking with us.
Thank you very much for hosting me.